Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday.
Good morning. Good morning. How you
Brandon.
doing?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. You have a good night last night?
I did. Slept well, slept hard, long. Didn't want to get up. That fan was calling my name this morning, y'all. I'm gonna have to find my remote so I can turn that baby off because I kind of got slick mad with it this morning, like, do something, go off. It was just hard to get up. But once it's like that all the time. Once I get up, I'm good. But some mornings it's the getting. It's the getting up. So
It's the getting up.
it's the getting up. But still all good. How are our great people out there? Let us know as you come in. Miss Latasha was in 10 minutes ago, probably. She said, good morning. I saw that. So
Oh wow. Wow. Good morning, Tosh.
how are you this morning, Brandon?
I'm good. I got up this morning, showered, and haven't drank my coffee yet, but I got it right here. I was gonna wait to take my first sip with you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took
What about you?
my first sip. I can't say that I didn't, but I did take my first sip. It's really good this morning. So I'm
Good,
excited.
good,
I'm excited about my coffee.
good. I had a
All
good day
right.
yesterday. Slept good. I never feel like I can get enough sleep nowadays. Like I don't know why, but I want to stay asleep. Like it's enough sleep, but that bed gets comfortable, that sleep gets deep, and yeah, I like it. I'm enjoying sleep a lot more. The older I get, I'm enjoying it a lot more.
You know what I've heard, and I don't remember who. I'll have to research it. I'll have to look it up. That the more you grow, that because sleep is a different experience for people who are growing. Like I gotta look that up so I can say it how this person told me. I don't know who it was, but like there's something about sleeping that you desire and need because it takes you to a different realm. You're in a different realm. I've heard that. So I'm gonna have to look it up and do some research on it and I'll share it with y'all tomorrow. Don't let me forget that, Brandon.
Shoot,
But I've heard
I'm just talking about physically. Of course, going in my my dreams and stuff, but I mean, just even physically, like the physical sensation of just being in bed with that, like you said, that fan on, and them
yeah,
covers just the right temperature, and then
yeah,
the pillow that's I don't know, the pillows that stay cool, but they
yeah,
never get too hot, where you don't have to flip them. They got all kind of technology now to make you ain't even got to flip the pillow no more. So,
right. But based on
um,
what you said, you want to sleep more. Like that's
mm,
that's different, right? That's different. Like you,
yeah, that is different.
yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, let's see who we have in with us this morning. We've said good morning to Tasha. She says, "Good morning, family. Have a great day. You too, Tasha. Be blessed on this day." Miss Brenda says, "Good everything, everyone." So that's all we have right now. Rocking with, or that has said good morning. That's all we have in the comment section. So Brandon, if you're ready, let's jump right into this baby so we can get our day going, our great day going. How about that, you guys?
Sounds good to me. Sounds great to me. Great to me. Thank y'all again for joining us. For the people that are here and for the ones that are watching at home or at another time, we appreciate it. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Type in This Season podcast. It's right up there to the upper left hand corner. Type that into your YouTube or follow the link that mom usually puts out there. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share it and subscribe to it if you're so willing. And then turn on those notifications because at 7 a.m. every morning we can make sure you're in here too. So make sure if you're watching this afterwards that you do that, and you'll get notified every time we go live. But we are going into the next day. I don't know if it's 200 and might be 200. What is it, Mom? 200 what? What day
It's
is it?
210.
Huh?
210.
210 days of consecutive in this season podcast. So thank y'all for being here with us. Thank y'all for coming back day after day after day. We are reading through Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. If you don't have the book, make sure you get that book. This is a book we read every day. We offer our insights on whatever the reading is. I don't read it beforehand, so the first time I'm reading it, I might have read these before at some point or another because I've had this book a couple years, but I don't know which one is up next. So usually when I'm reading it, or when you're hearing it, I'm reading it, I'm hearing it. If not for the first time, it's still kind of new and fresh to me for the day. So, and I've never analyzed them in the way that we're doing, never broken them down. So make sure you join us. A
Hey,
little bit more. Mhm.
Brandon, I have something really quick to share. You just made me
Sure.
think about it. I had a listener say to me, we were, and I'll have to go back and say something to him because we were in a conversation and he said this, but because we were in a conversation, it needed to go quickly. I didn't comment on it, but he said he made a better decision based on listening to us. It was something concerning financing and deciding to make a purchase or not to. And so he
Mm,
decided not to. And he said, just based on listening to y'all, I just think that's not the best choice. And that
mm,
was, and I didn't get to say, hey, thank you for that. Because again, we were caught up in the conversation and trying to, get to our respective places. But y'all, I love
that's
that. Like
encouraging.
it's really encouraging. And that's what makes me go against the grain like this morning when I really, really, really needed a few more minutes. Because if one person is changed by this, glory to God. Not to me, not to Brandon, not to those who come here every day. If one person outside of us, right? I feel like those of you who come here, you're doing the thing. Um, but to hear new people coming new people, to hear that new people who are coming and listening, whether it's every day or not, that they hear something that makes their actions, their mindset different. So just wanted to say that in case my brother is listening and or will listen later, that I heard you. I may not have tuned into it right then, but I heard you, and it registered with me later. So
Mm, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you for sharing, and for the new people that join us. Y'all are welcome. Feel free to enter the comments and chat with us a little bit. We got Mr. Brandon Gonzalez from Instagram. He's one of the guys that he teaches wrestling. I want to say at, I'm not sure which. I think at Germantown High School. He's like an assistant coach at Germantown High School, and I coach him in jujitsu. I instruct him in jujitsu at law school MMA. So welcome, Brandon Gonzalez. It's good to have you in, brother. But yeah, let's jump right into it. A little bit more about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. So each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Edelman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So let's jump into one of those teachable moments, one of those teachable lessons. Anything else from you, Mom?
I'm all good. I know you had to kind of give yourself time to get that coffee, didn't you?
I was about to tell you. I was about to tell you, so I did really got anything else, Mom?
I know it's all good.
That
I
coffee is
had to see.
delicious.
Yeah, mine is too this morning. It's like extra.
Did my wife make yours too? Did she come all the way down to Mississippi? Because she be making mine so good.
No, I make my own.
Cool, cool. Well, let's jump into it, y'all. So today is August the 28th. A friend of mine's birthday is today. I have to make sure to hit him up. But today's title is Mule-headed. Mule-headed. And our quote comes from Blair Underwood, the actor, who says, "The greatest pleasure in life is being pleased with your own efforts." Hmm. The greatest pleasure in life is being pleased with your own efforts. Pioneers in every field have faced the critical laughter of jealous observers. The first American steamboat took 32 hours to travel from New York City to Albany. People laughed. The horse and buggy passed the early motor car as if it were standing still. Again, people laughed. The first electric light bulb was so dim that people had to use a kerosene lamp to see it. Once more, people laughed. The first airplane was airborne for only 59 seconds. As expected, people laughed. If you try to tackle a big job, or if you have new ideas, expect criticism. There once was an old man whose grandson rode a donkey while they were traveling from one city to another. The man heard people say, "Look at that old man suffering on his feet while that strong young boy is sitting." The old man rode the donkey while the boy walked. However, he heard someone say, "Look at that, a healthy man making the poor young boy suffer." So the man and the child both rode the donkey until they overheard a bystander. "Would you look at those two men making that poor animal suffer?" So they both got off and walked until they heard someone say, "Look at that, a perfectly good donkey not being used." In the end, the boy decided to walk while the old man carried the donkey. Pleasing yourself will draw you much closer to your goals than pleasing everybody else. And our affirmation and inspiration at the bottom of the page that we read and take with us throughout the day is, "I am not afraid to lift my head above the crowd, though I may draw criticism." I am not afraid to lift my head above the crowd, though I may draw criticism. What do you think about this, Mom? Mule-headed.
So I looked up mule-headed, and this is what does stubborn as a mule mean. And I know that's a little different, but I'll read one on mule-headed as well. But this one says determined to do what you want and unwilling to change your mind, often in a way that annoys other people. Right? Here is one. He is without question a man of his word, but he can certainly be stubborn as a mule. Have y'all
Mm-hmm.
ever just think about how not everybody maybe, but it annoys you that someone is so their yes is yes and their no is no. And have you thought about why that annoys you? You've heard me say, don't people when people call you selfish, because there's a need to be selfish, right? There's a healthy way to be selfish. And to me, that's going back to know who you are, your true goals. When you know those so much, you already know what the answer, or if you know that, then you already know what your answer will be. Will it be yes or will it be no? And you know the reason behind it because you know it does not support you. Now, some people will call that mule headed. And remember when I say, when people call you selfish, that there's a part of them that's saying that because they want you to be you-ish, meaning you are doing what they want you to do, right? This part that says the greatest pleasure in life is being pleased with your own efforts. Now there's a level of mule-headedness and selfishness that is about your ego, not about being pleased with your life and your own efforts. There's a denying and a lying to self that is different from what we're talking about today. That you're doing something for the world, for the people to get the attention, right? Not simply because this is your life, this is what you who you are, this is your goal, and you're going to be true to those goals because you've written it down and you've made it plain so you know what to do. And then you are not afraid. You're not afraid to live it, to be it. It says, I am not afraid to lift my head above the crowd, though I may draw criticism. I remember seeing this about the old man and his grandson, but it was the old man and his wife. And I'll put that picture out there as we end the show because I do have it in there. But y'all, no matter what you do, and it's kind of like when I say it's pimp, the little young man pimping wearing you, Miss Tammy, pimping wearing you, or you wearing the pimping, right? Are people wearing you, right? Are you wearing you? Do you make moves for people or what they are going to think? I remember seeing a quote or a question on Facebook. Why do you think some people who are totally, and I'm not pushing divorce or separating or anything like that, but this is a true thing. And I'll go back a little bit. People will get married because of people, for people. Like there have been people who they got their wedding planned, something happened, they don't want to do it, but we sent out the invites, we've ordered the food. Like really, think about that. So we got to go through it. Really, I've been amongst someone in that situation who went on because I've sent out the invitation. People are coming. What? Right? And then the question that was on Facebook, why do people, it could be some of those same people who decided to move forward with it, knowing that it wasn't the right thing for them, but they will still not get divorced because they don't want people, they don't want people to know that they've been lying all this time about their relationship, right? Because most times we fake it, right? So, and my answer was for people. They stay for people. And if you, the wrong, stay. But if you're going to stay because you love the person and you want to work it out. Because if you stay for the people, you will never work it out. Not in the sense that it should be of marriage. Oh, Brandon, by the way, and I'm going to turn it over to you. By the way, I watched, not all, I watched the documentary last night.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But I learned something. I'll have to share it later, you guys. So we're closer to getting the documentary date set. You guys, we want you to support us in this. We want you to tell your church about it, your work, everything. So we're going to be showing a documentary here soon, probably in October. But we'll have more information about that. So it'll be probably on a Saturday. Is that the date?
It's
Sunday.
I'll go verify it. See, it'll be I think the 18th of October.
Possibly. Yeah. I didn't want to throw it out there because I know we weren't sure of that date. But you guys, we are depending on you to get your ticket. It's not free. Okay. Get your ticket and get someone else out there as well. We'll talk about that later. But Brandon, that's kind of all I have on this. Be mule-headed. Be the good kind, right, of mule-headedness. And the greatest pleasure in your life is being pleased with your own efforts. Maybe we'll turn that into a question today. Are you pleased with your efforts? If not, why? What can you do to change that? What can you do to help you decide how you move your donkey and with who on it and not care about what people are saying? If you're riding or if someone else is riding, doesn't matter. if you walk, right, and or if you carry the donkey, do you, do you, because until you do you, or and if you don't do you, everybody else will do you for you. You better believe it. They'll eat you up alive, put you back together so they can do it all over again, because that takes the focus off of them. Right? So over to you, Brandon.
Thank you for those insights, Mom. Mule-headedness. Mule-headedness. The greatest pleasure in life is being pleased with your own efforts. I'll start where you kind of left off, Mom. There's something about, especially, I can really say this as a man. We need a mission, especially youth. Young men need a mission. They have all of this energy to place somewhere. And if these men don't have a place to put their energy, or haven't been raised in a way that gives them a mission in their life, if they don't understand that they are to be providers, protectors, builders of community, right? Every road that you go on, every bridge that you've crossed or gone under, right? Every car that you've driven in, every building that you've been in has been built by men. So when we start to lose the men, the women, and the children are not protected. And what I mean by that is when you start to lose the institution of manhood, the inner institution. I don't mean a physical organization. I mean the internal organization of a man's psyche, of his psychological prowess, his spiritual fortitude, his emotional stability and balance, and his mission of understanding his place in the world and in society, and even most importantly, in his own family. Entire generations are lost, right? So when you are, as a man, doing things toward that effort, we always, and this is just from what I've seen and in talking to other men, we always go back and kind of check ourselves like, internally, have I done enough? Did I do this today? What am I not doing? What have I done? Right? Who does it protect? Who does it provide for? And I see a lot of, in the situations where there is a fatherlessness, it's from what I've seen, it's not so much that they don't want to be there, but rather they feel like they don't have the ability to do it correctly. So they rather do this sometimes, right? Or they haven't put themselves in a position with the mother, or didn't choose in a correct or they're disappointed in their choice of who is having their child, and there's instances, there's combat, or there's friction between them, right? And so sometimes they can't get there. But even in that state, I say, men, we have to take ownership of that, right? Of the efforts that we did and we didn't do, right? And now, how does this lead into this? Because these people here were two men. Mule-headedness. When you start to do things like that as a man, when your yes is your yes and your no is your no, you will have people, you will have other men but specifically you will have sometimes the women in your life will say, well, it's okay, why don't you rest right now, or in the disciplining of a child, oh, well, it's okay, they just, and you get the excuse, right? And what do I as a man, I think we should be mule-headed, but also listening and compassionate to those things that other people say, like, so specifically people that are in your life that you love and that you trust. Take advice, but have your direction as a man. have your direction. I had someone tell me, this is a number of years ago. It was a successful young woman, very, very wealthy, uh, in that success realm, told me that it is more attractive for a man to be busy than for a man not to have anything to do, right? It's attractive for a man to wake up, go to the gym, mow the yard, have this to do, have his schedule, know where he's going and what he's doing, and have direction for every day, as opposed to being always available to her
Mm.
or to whoever else. That it's actually attractive. So the value of a man goes up once he's more scarce. And I don't mean scarce in a sense of he's just not there, but you know that he is there in a different way. He's there providing for the space. He's providing for the home. He's dedicated to a mission. And I found that when young men don't have a mission that they can be mule-headed on, they
Mm.
become mule-headed on idleness, idol worship, to be real with you. And by idol worship, I mean doing idle time, idle friendships, idle situationships, uh, um, idle actions and hobbies and things like that. Uh, Gangs, video games, things like that. Men love video games. Why? Because there's always a mission. There's always a goal. There's always something to do, right? And so I see a lot of men. Unfortunately, I don't play video games hardly ever. But I've noticed that many of the men that seem to have this like aimless area of their life or be in this kind of fog will will give themselves sometimes to these video games, these virtual realities, and really get into it, or football or basketball, that watching it on TV. I mean, so much so to where they'll be arguing with each other, angry, about to fight, right? Because their team is losing. Have y'all seen that? Now, is that masculine? What? So we have these natural things we want to, fight for what we believe in, but we're replacing it with fighting for the team that we don't have any ownership in, right? And can y'all still hear me? You can? Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. It sounded a little weird in my headset. Um, and so you have to be mule-headed, but you have to have a mission. Don't be mule-headed in the wrong things. When I was a child, Mom, and you might be able to tell them this, or to confirm this. My nickname was Bonehead. Still is, right? I can't hear you, Mom, but
I'm good.
oh yeah, okay. Uh, it was Bonehead because whatever I put my mind to as a child, and I don't know, you got to tell me, Mom, if I'm still this way today, but whatever I put my mind to, I just would not stop it until I got what I wanted out of that situation, no matter what people said or how I wouldn't say unfortunate, but how uncomfortable it made me or other people. If I saw good in it and I wanted it for myself, or I wanted to complete it, or if I wanted an answer, then I would not stop until I found it. Or if my parents told me we were going somewhere 3 months from now, the specific date and the specific time, I would hold on to that until that date came, and I would say, "You said," and they'd be like, "How did you remember this? This was months ago." I'm like, "But you said," right? So as parents, keep your promises, but also keep your threats. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because you set the mission. You set the yes, my yes is yes, my no is no, right?
Mm.
But if you keep your promises but don't keep your threats, then you've opened the door for, what some people call, quote unquote, toxic masculinity, and there's toxic femininity as well. But as a young man, or as men in general, we need a mission, because we're gonna most likely be mule-headed on something. It's not that most people aren't mule-headed. It's that they are on the wrong things, or they are on things that don't serve them, their communities, and that have no measures of accountability, right? Because it makes us comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see where I'm going with that, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Being mule-headed, I think, is a part of human nature to a degree,
Yeah.
right? It's just, are we doing it in ways that serve us, our families, our communities, our Lord,
Or
and
self.
are we or ourselves, and are we committed to them? And not all selfishness is bad, right? Not all of it is bad, because sometimes, you might have given money to that person who asked for it because you wanted to please them, knowing that you needed that, or your family needed it, and not because you thought that they really needed it, but you wanted them to think that you had it enough to give to them, right? So that's mule-headedness. It's not always a good thing. It's, you have to have a mission and then be mule-headed. Don't be mule-headed and then go find a mission, in my opinion, because you'll be aimless in a sense. And some people may not agree with that. Some people may say you need to be mule-headed first, then go find a mission. But I disagree. I think mule-headedness is a part of us naturally, but we need a mission. So what's your mission? What's your mission? Our affirmation for the day was, I'm not afraid to lift my head above the crowd, though I may draw criticism. Expect criticism. Nothing great has been done without criticism. You got to think about the best people that have ever lived, or the people that are renowned to us, right? From the Jesuses to the Nelson Mandelas. Nelson Mandela was deemed a terrorist by the United States.
Hmm.
Nelson Mandela was deemed a terrorist. Why? Because he wanted to overthrow. He was a part of a party that wanted to overthrow the injustice, right? With the in South Africa, with, I believe, the Dutch and people coming in, Afrikaners, in the situation, excuse me, that they had, in the racism and the second class citizenship of the indigenous people of South Africa. So that he was messing up the money, he was messing
Mm.
up the profit, he was messing up the exploitation and extraction of minerals and the human resources, and extorting their labor for the benefit of the West. So that was antithetical to the empire, right? And then the order, that the West had put onto to South Africa, and burdened the people, the indigenous people there. This is where the Zulus are, where you hear, Shaka Zulu. That's South Africa, right? So no matter what people say, Dr. King was villainized, only to get a holiday after they assassinated him. The same government that assassinated him gave him a holiday after his death, and then conjured his legacy to to be limited only to his pacifism, right, and not his activism, right? So as men, if you are not active, you are passive. And what use is a passive man? You can't build, you can't protect, right? You can't lead, you can't direct. And I see, we call it simping now. I don't know if you guys know what a simp is, but it's men that will do anything for the pleasure of a woman, or anything. You can simp on anything. They would do anything, give up everything in order to just please women in general, right? Simping for, take this, take this, take this, giving away the things. I keep thinking about that Proverbs 31,
I was just
31,
thinking,
3.
I was going to ask you about that. Okay. And some people may not have been here on that day, but they can go back and kind of read Proverbs 31,
31, 3.
3, 31, 3.
31 chapter 31 verse 3.
I'll stick it out there. I'll stick it out there
Okay.
before we get out of here. I'll stick
And
it out.
so I'll start wrapping this up. So expect criticism, guys, because if the haters aren't there, then you don't have the story. If there's no adversity, there's no greatness, right? If if you grew, for example, if you go to outer space, and this is kind of out there, but I think I'm gonna bring it on. I think you guys will understand this. When people go to outer space and then they stay for extended periods of time, when they come back to Earth, do you know that oftentimes they're shorter? They actually shrink. Oftentimes they lose muscle density. They lose bone density. Sometimes they have, bone problems and things like that. Why? Because there's no gravity. Gravity pulls on you at 9.81 meters per second squared. So there's weight on you, and that's what gives you weight. That's what makes you feel like, man, when I lift my arms, my muscles have to be tense. But in outer space, there is no gravity, or very little that affects you. So you're just floating around. So your muscles become weak. Your bones become light. There's no use for them anymore. You become feeble. Likewise, if there's no adversity, if there's no challenge, if there's no naysayers, right? Then you too become feeble. Iron sharpens iron. Put yourself around people that are going to sharpen you. They say that your enemies stab you in the back, but your friends stab you in the front. What do I mean by that? Your friends will tell you to your face that you have a booger in your nose. Your fake friends will let you walk around with that booger fresh, knowing you're going to an interview, knowing you're going on a date, right?
They'll tell somebody else.
Yeah, they'll tell somebody else and then laugh at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then guard your friendships, right? Hold your friends accountable, right? Who do you call your friends? And so understand that this adversity will come from places high and low, near and far. Your family, when you have a business, in many cases, your family is the last one to support it. That is inherent adversity. And it's not because they hate you or anything like that, but sometimes it's hard for people to see you in the light that you want to be, and they see you in the light that you have been. They see you as Lil Pookie. They see you as Lil Bonehead. They see you as how we came up in the same place. How can you go be this and do this? How can you have dreams of doing that? My dream is, well, I'm here working this. This is where I'm gonna stay, right? So don't waste your time doing that. You wasting your time. It could be out of what people think is love, right? But are you being loved out of fear? Right? Even love from a place of fear does not serve anyone.
That's right.
Right? So I know I went kind of everywhere around that, but that mule-headedness is I'm speaking to a certain type of determination and a certain type of orientation of thought, orientation of your consciousness that makes you resilient. I'm talking about resilience. This is what I choose to do. And I will follow this road until either God leads me off of it onto another path, or I find that it's no longer beneficial. But that's a consciousness, and that's a decision that has to come from you and you alone. You cannot move based on the winds of time. I mean, because look at it. Morality, subjective morality changes. That's what I call subjective morality. When morality changes, for example, it was in America 200 years ago, it was illegal for interracial marriage, right? It was frowned upon by the quote unquote dominant people, or take it to another level, homosexuality. People said that it was just 20-30 years ago, it was largely unaccepted, right? But on a moral basis, on a religious and faith-based basis. And then 20 years later, it's seen as it's normalized, right? And even beyond that, men pontificating as women and women pontificating as men, right, was very much frowned upon and seen as a very immoral act. And now, you know, those those ideas have almost more of a place and placement inside of our entertainment than than men who are men and women who are women. They even gave them a name called cis men, CIS or something, and cis women. I don't even know what it all entails, but that's all subjective morality. So if you get your morality from a secular place, then that bar is always moving, right? You have to come up with your morality yourself and stick to your principles. And I'm not saying that those things can't change as you grow in your consciousness and in your knowledge, but you cannot base your morality on something that is um, that is outside of yourself, outside of what benefits, outside of your consciousness, outside of your critical thinking, outside of your faith or your relationship with God and yourself and your society. If the bar is always moving, so are you. You don't have roots. You can't grow. A tree cannot grow if its roots are not planted. You uproot a tree, you'll kill that tree, right? So be mule-headed, have a mission, pursue that mission, and expect the criticism, and see that criticism as the gravity that causes your bones to grow. See that criticism as the force that pushes back, that allows for you to push through. Because without it, you're not going to grow. You're not going to develop. You're not going to be strong. You're not going to be resilient. So see these things that are quote unquote coming against you, your challenges, your adversity, your obstacles. See those as part and partial to your success, because trust me, it is. So be mule-headed, but don't act like a donkey.
So
I'll leave
Brandon,
it there.
I wanna go back to, it says here the first airplane was airborne for only 59 seconds.
Not even a minute.
As expected, people laughed. Now, how are we doing now with that one? People are flying everywhere. Airplanes are in the air for hours, hours. Yet
Hmm.
someone laughed when it was being tested, right? When it became an idea to someone and they were trying to work this thing out, and it only stayed up 59 seconds. And you tell me the dream, right? The thing God whispered in your thoughts, right? In your mind, you won't even try to birth them. You won't plant the seed, water it, right? So this is also about that, those goals. Be mule headed with what God has given you. And what I'm going to go to Psalms 32:6. Therefore, don't be like the mule. Be not like a horse or a mule without understanding. That's the word,
Without
without
understanding.
understanding, which must be curbed with bit and bridle. Instead, let everyone who is godly come to God in prayer at a time when he may be found. So, this is about God's will for your life. See, that's, you ought to be seeking God. You ought to be seeking to be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you will know God's perfect will for you. And when you get that, be mule headed.
Hmm.
Know who you are, whose you are, and know where he's taking you. Be able to hear his voice the day you hear my voice, right? My sheep know my voice. So you could be mule, if you choose to be mule headed, go before God in meditation and prayer. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Show up, and then show out with understanding. Right? And that's Psalms 32 and 32 and 6. Also, it's interesting to me that when you talk about mule-headed, it brings up the word stubborn, right? So let's look at stubborn. Having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. That good argument, that good reasons is God. If it ain't God, and if it's not someone that God has sent to you to help you get that understanding, thank you, bro. Thank you, sis. And keep it moving. Because people will try to distract you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are okay, if you are what's the word here, pleased with your attitude, your position, where you're going, if you know God told you to go to California, don't let nobody tell you to go to New York. But you gotta hear his voice. So let's choose today where we will be mule-headed, in what positions in our life. Brandon, I kept laughing because I thought about something you said two things as a little boy. Brandon used to say, now this is because I wanted Brandon to I wanted him to speak his mind. So I taught him that. I pushed it in him. But it's going to be three things, because I remember one time my grandmother, bless her soul and heart, I've been talking about her a lot these days. Grandma B. Brandon had said something and I didn't like it. And he had said it to her. They were in a conversation, and I was wanting to whoop him. She said, "You will not." She said, "You teach him to speak his mind, and now you want to whoop him for doing it." She said, "You will not." So she wouldn't let me, and it makes sense now. And get it. Like I'm wanting to spank you because something you said to her, but she was like, "No, you will not." You tell him to speak his mind, let him speak it. And so years later, I remember Brandon saying to me, "Well, you just have to whoop me because I got to say what I got to say." And he was probably, y'all, 6 or 7. I'm like, this boy is crazy. He's like, "Yeah, you just have to whoop me because I'm gonna say what I got to say." But I had pushed that in him. But I wanted to be pick and choose when he gets to do it, and you can't, right? And then I'm gonna be on you for a minute, but this is my last one. When and your grandma Irene, Lord have mercy, I could still see her laughing about this, and I wasn't even there, but she told me the story. Your dad had told you to to be quiet or something like that, and Brandon says, "Well, you might stop my mouth from talking, but you can't stop my mind."
Or
Look
like,
at
yeah, it was like you
you
don't know
can't
what I'm thinking in my mind
in
or
my mind,
something.
yeah, something
Mhm.
like that. So the stubbornness,
And I
right?
was little. How old was I then?
Yeah, you were little. You
I was
you
like
should have probably got another
4.
month. Yeah, yeah. So it's just, y'all. It's we have to
I remember that.
understanding is that word, understanding. And then this is going to be my last thing, Brandon. You talked a little bit about women and men and how women, some I guess, want to see that man getting up, going, doing. I can relate to that. I truly can. There is something, and you guys, and ladies, if you will think about, ladies particularly, maybe remember how, and I'll say the word, how sexy a man in uniform, or especially a construction worker, because it's something about strength, like he's strong. And women, at the end of the day, some of us, like I'm old school. I want to see my man doing the yards, the car, the heavy stuff. I take pride in. I can't open this jar. Like there is something, and y'all, this documentary that we're doing, it is so powerful. I'm asking every woman, man, boy, child to bring your family out, your sisters. If you're not married, bring your sisters. Sisters, if you're not married, bring your brothers, your male friends. It's powerful, and we need this. But there is something, and that something is order. There's a natural order as it relates to men and women. And it's so out of order that we're losing at every turn. And is it Romans 1? I will turn you over to a reprobate mind. Your men will no longer be men, your women. They'll take on the qualities and characteristics and attributes will become switch, all that. Read Romans. I think it's Romans 1. Isn't it
Yeah.
Romans 1?
Yeah, it is. It is. You
You
made me
got
think of
something
something.
to say. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You got
I
something to say.
I actually saw an Instagram post. This was yesterday, of a sister Beautiful sister. She had some tattoos and stuff, but really, really striking sister. And she said, I have never, I think her words were like, I never knew how to be soft. She said, I never knew how to be
Mm.
soft. She said, y'all, I done figured it out. She said, when I just sit back, right? She said, when I sit back and I'm like, baby, I'm not okay. I need
Mm.
this. I need you. You know, she said, I get whatever I want. She said, when I'm like that, I get whatever I want. She was like, who taught me to be hard? She was like, who taught me to be masculine and aggressive? Who taught me that? She's like, that
What
doesn't
man
work.
really wants that? Right. He
Right,
wants, just
exactly.
like we want
And
to see him as
and I'm
strong, he wants to see us as soft. And he
mama, and I'm telling you,
and the person that we are to protect.
yeah. And if you, I looked at the comments because I'm telling you, she almost hypnotized me, mama. And the men in the comments were like, bruh, they were like, what one comment said, man, my first thought was, he said I had to stop myself because my first thought was, let me go and cash app this girl $50. That was so the men were like, yes, yes, like I mean, and there was another, I've seen another video on a similar topic where a sister said that she was dealing with kind of like a not feeling like she was having a voice in her relationship, and she said that once she started um, kind of letting the man lead in a sense, like letting her man lead and not trying to control so many things, she said now he comes to me about everything. Now he asks my advice on everything. He won't even make the smallest decision without coming to me and getting my opinion
Yeah.
first. She's
Yeah.
like, but when I was trying to force upon him what I thought he should do, he was repelled by that.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I said, y'all, like the mule headedness can be misplaced and cannot work to your benefit or the benefit of your family, of your organization or workplaces or your society at large, community and society at large. Like you said, there is a certain dynamic, and it does not mean that any voice is worth more than the other, but we work counter each other. We work like a left glove and a right glove, and your left glove, no matter what you do, even if it's the same make and model of the glove, will not fit. The left glove will not fit on the right hand. No matter how much you try to fit it, even if you cut off the thumb, you'd have messed up your glove. And some people out there cutting off their thumb, if you know what I mean. So we go. I'm gonna leave that there. No matter what you do, a man is a man, and a woman is a woman by nature. By nature. Now we can create social constructs and things like that on our own, and to everyone, that's your prerogative, and you have every human right, and you deserve to be protected and respected. But there is a natural ordinary, or there is a natural process of things. There's only one that is non-binary, and that is God. Everything else was created in pairs. So back to the subject of today, mule-headedness. Stay focused, and we'll wrap up, Mom, if you're cool with it, because
Mhm.
it's getting
Yeah.
kind of late.
Yeah.
The greatest pleasure in life is being pleased with your own efforts. Are you pleased with your own efforts? And if you are not, how can you restructure your mission, um, to be in such a way to where you are pleased? All right. So mule-headed was our title. That was our quote. And our affirmation for today is, I am not afraid to lift my head above the crowd, though I may draw criticism. A lot of y'all, to give reference to the story, some of y'all weren't here. Some of the people in the comments here weren't here for the beginning of the story. But some of you guys are carrying the donkey.
Mm.
right now. Some of y'all are burdened by the perception of other people. You are burdened in your life because you're trying to please others, right? Would you rather be at peace with yourself and at war with the world, or at war with yourself and at peace with the world? Only you will see yourself in the mirror. Only you have to sleep at night. Only you were born alone and you will die alone. Only your head fits on your, or looks right on your shoulders, right? So with that head that fits on your shoulders, be mule-headed, be focused, be determined, be committed, no matter what the naysayers say, no matter the criticisms that come with it. All right. So thank y'all for being here today. We're going to get up out of here. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow on In This Season podcast. Go to the YouTube, like, turn on those notifications, and subscribe. My mom has one more thing to say
One
before we
more
get
thing.
out of
And
here.
some of y'all are spectators, right? In your own lives, but you have the nerve to stand and be the one criticizing the people passing by you, right? You're the one laughing at the 59 seconds airplane, right? So distracted about it, you don't even know that now that it's now 12, 13, 20 hours in the air, right? So let that simmer. All right, Brandon,
Let
we're
that
out
simmer.
of here. We missed some of y'all's comments, but y'all read those. Take more time for contemplating. I will put some things out in the comment section when we're off here. So y'all be great. Brandon, did you have anything else?
Nah, man, I just want to let y'all know that I love y'all and I appreciate y'all being here every morning. Get some more people here and let's do this thing again tomorrow. All right.
All right.
All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Peace.